Hi geeks, welcome to the first episode of the Show Up Pod. I already showed videos on my Instagram, but I wanted to, make it more continuous. As everyone knows, one of the key things that I would always say is keep showing up. And that statement, keep showing up, is very important to me because I believe that, as individuals, entrepreneurs, the most important thing that you can do is just to show up. I think that that's the first step in everything that you would do, to stay consistent, to keep learning, to keep growing. The first step is showing up. And this pod, we're going to focus it on celebrating the people that do show up. We're going to talk about how best, we can show up, for our business, for our career. And we're basically going to be talking about anything in between, meaning that, speaking a lot more about tech and how tech can be used for your business, right? So that's literally the theme of the entire conversation. This is the first episode, and we're going to focus today's conversation on how best to prepare for 2025. There's no way we can talk about 2025 without actually looking through 2024. And we're going to be touching on a few things. How do we use technology to work smarter? How do we improve our business operations? How do we, use technology to basically grow our business? That growth that you're planning for 2025. Basically how we're going to use technology for that. And so we're going to do this together. Think about it like a mini workshop. And so we're going to be talking through a few things. Hopefully, if you're there prepared, I want you to be able to, run through a couple of things, right, with me as we go through this conversation to plan for our 2025. For intros, my name is Kelvin. I am the CEO of Bumper. Bumper is a business management tool that focuses on helping business owners use technology to manage and to grow their businesses. Simple as possible. And how we think about it is like, hey, the first thing we want to do is to help business owners adopt technology, right? So if you're not using technology to grow your business, we want you to be able to use technology to manage it and the easiest way possible. And so Bumper provides you with that tool. The next step is going to be how we help you connect with almost all the tools that you use to basically improve your operational efficiency, to basically improve your business processes. And so that's also some of the mission that we are trying to help with at Bumper. I believe that technology is a big part of every business, right? That every business is a technology business, and what I mean is that every business have to figure out how to use technology to basically manage and to grow their business. We are living in a new age right now, right? And there are so many tools, so much innovation that are out there, right? And the biggest problem is that for many small businesses, they are still not able to adopt these technologies, for their own advantage. And so that's why you see a lot of small businesses, they die easily. You see someone start a business, you see them, they crash out. Why? They don't adopt technology as fast. And there might be a lot of different reasons. Many of these technologies can be expensive. Some of it can be complex. You probably need someone with expertise to help you do it. And sometimes you don't just even know about it. And think about me like someone coming in to say, hey, first, I want to tell you about the technologies that you can use. Second is, I want to show you even the simple tools that you can use, the tools that are not very complex that you can start with. And also just ensure that, you have, there are also cheap tools or free tools that you can actually adopt today without thinking too much, about breaking the bank, in your own business, right? When thinking about 2024, the question that I have for you is, did you use technology in 2024? Oh yeah, this pause is for you to answer. I'm talking to you. Did you use technology in 2024? If you did not, right, then we have to talk about 2025. Because if you're planning for your 2025, you cannot afford not to use technology. You cannot afford to not use technology. You're not going to run your business the same way you did in 2023 and 2024 because your competitors are actually not playing. They don't play. And if they are not playing, you cannot actually, just feel like, oh, it's too complex. It's too, give yourself so many excuses. And that's like maybe the first question I'm going to ask you. why we review and assess our 2024. How much excuses did you give yourself in 2024? How many times did you tell yourself that, I'll check it out, but you never did? Oh, I'll get back to you, but you never did. For things that would help your business, how many times did you do that? And the question that I asked, and I have to also ask myself, if I do the things that I'm doing currently without making any changes, am I setting myself up for this kind of success that I need in 2025? I'm going to take that again. If we continue to do what we are doing right now without making any changes, are those things enough to help us get the results that we expect in 2025? And it's very important to ask this question so that you can understand where you're not doing well and the areas that you need to improve. So if we're reflecting on 2024 performance, I think the first thing is, how can we review our metrics? Do you have all your business data somewhere? Are you able to collect all of this data, right? You're probably using, maybe you have books that you're recording your sales on. You have a book for inventory where you put that together. Like, can you put all of those data together, right? For you, that if you're using manual solutions, obviously it would mean that you probably need someone to help you put it on Excel. You can do it yourself, or you get, your child or, one of your nieces and nephew, give them some money and tell them to help you move all those data, just copy and put it on Excel, right? There are simple analytics that you can run on Excel, right? So that you can actually understand your business in 2024. Right? Did you make money? Did you do better than you did in 2023? Answering those questions are things that we need to. If you're using tools like Bumper, Shopify, WooCommerce, and the rest, tools that already have, analytics features inside of them, then you can just go to analytics. It's usually simple. Just click on the analytics side and check how your business did, especially compared to 2023, right? Where did you do better and where did you not do, as well? You need this just so that you can plan very well for 2025. Now, if you have done this, if you've put together the data and you have figured out the areas where there's gaps, so you would have to now put all of those things down, right? And then let's us start figuring out how to ensure that we do better on those aspects that we did not do better. And for the ones that you did well, the question is, how do we ensure that you do not drop the ball on those ones, but also that you do much better in them in 2025? So are we good? Are you following me till now? Once we've been able to identify those places there are gaps, so what are the challenges? What do you think that's helped prevented you from achieving the goals for 2024? For some people, it can be technology, right? Not using enough technology, using bad technology. I've seen some people say they have to move from WooCommerce. A lot of people had to move from WooCommerce because some people say, oh, my website was crashing. If that's happening, obviously move to better solutions, like Bumper, for instance. If I hear some people say, hey, because of the USD rates, they had to spend a lot of cost in their Shopify stores, and some of them moved to cheaper solutions that charge an area like Bumper, for instance. So you want to assess all of those things now so that you can make decisions going into 2025. And if there are areas that you did well, please, right, celebrate yourself. You have tried, right? Celebrate yourself. You've done well up until this point. And the reason why we celebrate ourselves is just to ensure that we mark our successes, to ensure that we know, our brain realizes when there is success, so that we can tell the kind of actions, or to incentivize ourselves to take more of those actions that will be successful. In planning for 2025, there are things that we need to do. We need to basically set the goals for 2025 and be really clear about what we want to achieve, right? And some people, they just say things like, you know what, I want more sales, right? I want to obviously make more money. I want to buy a car. And that can be okay, but we need to go a lot more specific, right? Specifically, what is that clear goal, right? And when you think about your business, I think you need to ask yourself, like, what do I want for my business in 2025? right? It's hard to try to focus on multiple goals at the same time. So you probably want to figure out like what is that specific thing that would, that would change the game for you. You just want to increase your sales, right? In increasing your sales, are you focusing more on ensuring there are repeat businesses, repeat customers, or you are reaching out to new customers? So do you want to expand your following or audience? Do you want to go into new markets? So for instance, you're selling in just Nigeria, but you want to start selling, to the diaspora market. You want to start selling on TikTok, for instance, if you're just on Instagram, just to expand your audiences. Or even just want to start selling in a new country. So you want to find a partner or a distributor in another country, just so that they can expand your audience. So you need to figure out what that is, right? For Bumper, one of the things that we are planning to do just in this our specific goal is to enter into new markets, so new countries. So because as of this moment, we are only available in Nigeria, but we are going to now be in 2025, we're planning to be available in more markets. And we have specific markets that we're considering, and that we're working with partners to basically help us expand into those countries. So for you, you have to also specify those things for your business. Now, even if you say you want to go into new markets or you want to expand your following, we now need specific goals. There's something they call the SMART goals. It has to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and also time bound. What this means is, one, they have to be really smart, meaning that there's no room for ambiguity. Increase sales by how much, right? They have to be measurable. So if you say, I'm going to increase my sales by 20% month on month, that means that I can measure if I'm achieving my sale, if I'm achieving those growth targets or not. It has to be achievable. So you don't come in and just say, let's say you do 10 million naira in sales in 2024, then you just believe that, okay, I'm going to do 1 billion, right? Is it really achievable, or are you setting yourself up for failure? So you have to be able to be clear on, and this does not mean you should not set ambitious goals, right? You set ambitious goals, but within the target. So for instance, at Bumper, we set very ambitious goals, right? So even if we're going 5x, 10x from the year before, we have to specifically list out the things that would actually help us achieve that, right? So are there new markets? What are the new assumptions that that is basically driving that new ambitious target? So you can't just say, oh, doing the same thing I did last year, I'm going to just get, 10x. No, if you do the same thing you did last year, you're going to get the same results you got last year, right? I think that makes sense. So it also has to be relevant, right? Some people know how to set goals that do not tie to their main key objectives. So you say for instance, you're thinking about more sales, but one of the goals that you're setting is change my physical store. This may not have anything to do with where you are currently. It's not that there's a problem with your current space. It's just that you actually like a nice office and you just slot it inside the goal. How you think about relevant goals is that if I achieve that goal, will it help me achieve my overarching goal, right, of more sales? So if I get a new office, would they help me directly? No, it will probably not. And so that's how you would think about that, and ensure that any goal that you're specifically trying to achieve are relevant to your overarching goal. Then it has to be time bound, right? You don't just say I want to get 1 billion, but 1 billion by what time? Specifically, when is this supposed to happen? Many of us are right now setting goals for 2025. And so we would have to ensure that all the goals that we have for 2025, are designed to happen in 2025. But you can even do better by thinking about the goals on a quarterly basis, but also on a monthly basis. So if we call it projection, where you say, if I get this amount, right, and I am growing by this amount percentage per month, I'm this is what I'm going to achieve. And you can do that simply on Excel, right? Just put the different months, on the horizontal side, and then put the first revenue that you need to get in January, and then increase by a certain percentage. Say if you're targeting 20% month on month, do 20% for the first month between January and February, and then drag it to the remaining months, and then you would see what the end of the year gives you. So it will mean that if you do 20% month on month, that is the amount realistically. But as I said, you'll need to also figure out what will make up that, 20% growth for that month. Capturing two things. First, retention of your existing customers. Second, expanding into getting newer customers, right? So there needs to be that interplay between these two parties, or those two actions to basically to achieve your goals. So this part is for my people in school, right? I think that the best place to show up is actually while you are still in the university. And my brother just went into university. Ugochukwu is our kid brother, the smallest of the bunch. And I wrote a letter to him, right, while he was going to school, and I thought that I should share it, here. This conversation has like 5 key parts, and I'm gonna share it just so that you can pick one or two things, that you find that might be useful to you. So the first one is spend the money you have wisely and sparingly. Only spend on what is absolutely necessary. You need to learn the habit of managing money while you're in school. So learn to save, learn to have a budget, learn to track your spending, figure out where your money is going to, what is taking most of your money and what is not. Do not follow what others are doing just because, they are your guys. You just want to follow what they're doing. They are spending on something. You want to spend on that. You have to do what is best for you, not necessarily what makes you look good. The second one, spend most of your time learning. Now, you can either spend your time reading books, obviously going to classes, discussing about books. Don't spend your time arguing, right? Because you see, school, that's a place where people that want to be lawyers, even if they are doing engineering, they are ready to argue with you either about football, about anything. They are just ready to argue. Don't spend your time arguing. You see people sweating like this, see, as if they are going to give them money. Please don't spend your time doing that. Spend your time learning a long-term skill. There are so many tech skills available now, so many tech skills that are future-proof and that are going to be really relevant and in demand, over the next few years. You can start learning to code, machine learning, data analysis, cybersecurity, and so many more. The third one is find your tribe. Based on the last point of ensuring that you spend most of your time learning, you need to find those people that are learning the kind of things that you're learning. And that is how you'll find the people that you should be around. People that have good values and people that are also playing the long game, not the short game, because there are so many of those young people that will be out there today, especially for young boys, right? People that want to look for shortcuts to get to where they want to be. Try as much as possible to avoid them and focus on finding the right people. The fourth, apply yourself. Join a community like a coding group, a social responsibility organization, and apply yourself. Don't stay on the sidelines. A lot of things are happening in school. You can either just stay on the sidelines or be a part of something, right? Join a project. If somebody wants to build something, or if you have an idea to build something, build it. If there's a program for something, don't just be on the sidelines and and let the school life pass you by. Apply yourself. Be involved in something. I believe that there's so much growth when you apply yourself rather than not applying. If you have learnings, the best place to learn is by when you build or when you apply yourself into doing something. And the fifth one that I shared with him, remember where you're coming from and where you're going to. Don't lose yourself in the euphoria of, being in school, wanting to, be the biggest boy in school, becoming noticed by notorious people. Stay away from, as they say, people that want to play the short game. And the best thing that you can do for yourself, to be honest, is to join a church, right? Find a community of people that have, good values, right? And, even if they're hypocrites, just ensure that you are part of that, community. Remember where you're coming from and where you're going to, because everybody you're going to meet in school are not going to the same place with you. They're also not coming from the same place and they have different contexts, and so that matters a lot. So you have so much ahead of you. So if you're also going to school, especially in 2025, you have so much ahead of you. There's so much, right, that can be achieved. There's so much for you to do. There's so much for you to see and explore in the world. This part of your life is literally a stepping stone to where you want to be. And so keep that view of where you're going to in mind, while you're going to be in school. And as much as possible, show up. Show up for school, classes, for learning, show up to learning skills, show up when you're applying yourself, and just show up in general. So till I catch you again, keep showing up.